And my Flutter application shows a white screen for a few seconds on start. How do I solve this issue? I guess this is the same issue you all are facing, right? Okay. So what happens is when you launch an application, there is a particular splash screen associated with that. Okay. So in this case, if you have a black window background of the activity, in case of Flutter renders its frame, add this to manifest. So it's just talking about the theme from which you are, creating an application. So on an initial basis, you don't have any launch or splash screen defined, right? So if you define a splash screen for your application, splash screen is something which loads up when you open up an application. So let me just show you. Let me just open. I think you guys won't be able to see it because the text is too small, right? Let me just increase the font. Is it fine now? Okay. Cool. Let's open Android Studio. And I'll be going to my AVD manager. I'll be launching my Pixel 4 XL. Cool. Okay, so like we have this application YouTube Music, right? So when I open this up, you can see this black screen just appeared. So that's called the splash screen of any application. But in our case, we don't have any splash screen, right? So that's why it's just showing that white screen in that case. But you can just solve that issue by adding, an image, a native splash screen in, like, there's a third-party package available for that. This will show you a native splash screen when you're loading up. Okay, so you don't have any splash screen, that's why it's showing that white screen. So no need to worry about that, that's all fine. If you will add a splash screen, then whenever your application will launch up, you'll see the logo of the company or the project or the application, and right after that you'll be redirected to your relevant screen or homepage. So actually this is not an issue, Varun. This is just that you don't have a splash screen into your application as of now. This is not an issue. This is normal because you don't have a splash screen as of now. I will actually demonstrate this on the later course. Will it be fine if I do this later on? Because we have to proceed with our portfolio section. Cool. All right. So if you find any issues, you know how to Google this up. So people normally have to understand, and a good developer is someone who knows how to Google, right? So I could have just I typed it white screen Flutter. So this is not a complete sentence. Neither it does not convey any information, right? So what happens if you search on any browser, you have to keep in mind that browsers work on the basis of keywords. Okay. So if I write the same issue here, solve white screen issue for Flutter app on loading. Okay, so Google is a good browser, absolutely. So good search engine actually. So it knows how to take out the keywords, but you can see the differences. Here I'm getting the exact result, and here the result is getting dissolved because I added too much. I increased my search query by typing too much words. So if you want to exactly know like what's the issue, then you should always search via typing keywords. Okay, so I just typed white screen Flutter and I got the relevant issue regarding that. Okay, you can go and find the same Stack Overflow link here as well, but it will take a lot of time. And this is what makes you faster than any other developer. You should know how to Google things. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're going to create a portfolio application. A portfolio application is something which looks like it will have your picture, it will have your name, it will have your designation. So let's say in my case, if I put my designation mobile app developer, I'll put my name as Yash Pathak. I will put my email address. I will put my phone number if that concerns me. I will put my GitHub link, Dribble link, my LinkedIn link, and my link to my resume, right? So let's just create something. So this website is actually used for wireframing, creating DFDs, data flow diagrams, creating flow charts, for creating wireframes of your mobile applications and all. So yeah. So the name of this website is draw.io. Okay, you can create your basic structure or basic layout kind of thing. Let me just go over here. So this will be our application screen. All right, and this application screen will have this app bar. Okay, this will be the app bar. App bar will contain text, and that text will be portfolio. Cool. Or you can type anything you want on the on the title, and then it will contain an image of ours. Okay, we can square it up if you want, and right below this there will be our name. So in this case, let's type name. So it's always a good development practice that whatever you're going to create, you should have a clear picture in your mind, right? So this is why I'm doing this all. Okay, so we have the image, we have the name. Now I will add a designation. So let's mobile app. Cool. Okay, this is my designation. We'll put it right below here. And then this will be a scroll view. Like yesterday we discussed what a scroll view. Yeah, we can use Figma too just for design, right? Yeah, absolutely, we can use Figma, but I don't have. Actually, I have multiple. I also have Adobe XD as well, but it has multiple cloud issues running because I have Adobe Creative Cloud, and that's making a lot of issues. So I did not open this up. I opened this tool. This is very lightweight. You can instantly open and share with anyone. All right. So yeah. So this will contain the image, and this will contain the name. This will contain the designation. So let's now add email. Okay. So in email, I will create another box, a smaller one. Cool. Put it here. email @com.com. All right. Or let's say e@e.com. So here, that's how I'll display my email. This will be an icon, and this icon can be of any email icon we can use here. And this will contain our email address. Okay. e@e.com, or in my case, yashpathak@gmail.com. In your case, it might be something else, right? Cool. So we have email aligned. What else do we want? We want GitHub as well, right? So let's add here our GitHub link. And again, this will contain the GitHub logo instead of this @ icon. Cool. Okay, it's not downloading. Copy image address. Paste this here. Apply. So the icon is too big for us. would like to make it a little bit. Okay, let's just avoid this as of now. This is creating a lot of confusion. So I will just add an icon here, okay? And here it will be a GitHub username. Similarly, there will be another similar, links to our Dribble account, to our CodePen account, and likewise. And we will also add a short bio if we want. Okay. So we will add a text here. And this will contain gibberish. Cool. So this will be our name and this will be my bio. Let's say I am Yash. I have been working with this and this technology from the past 2-3 years, and I'm looking for a job opportunity or I'm currently learning. So whatever you want to write, you can write here. So this is what we're going to create, and we're going to create it. We are going to make it totally functional. Okay. So let's just go to our desktop. Let's open VS Code. Let's close this. So this is your first welcome screen, which you will see when you open VS Code, okay? And now we will do everything in a very streamlined manner. You already know what widgets we are going to use. If there are going to be few new widgets as well, then it's going to be totally fine. So let's create our project. No, it totally depends upon use case. Like let's say if you're going to connect your application on something, it is listening from your server, or something it's listening from your, let's say, Firebase connection. You have your Firebase connection with the application, Varun. Then in that case, if you want your things to get updated from backend, then you can define some particular widget to be, dynamic. Then in that case, you can go with stateful. Not an issue, value. Okay. So you can use stateless, we can use stateful. It totally depends on use case. I think you guys are totally comfortable with using both of them. But when it comes to creating a portfolio, so most of the things are going to stay static. But if you want some data to be dynamic, then you should have a backend gateway to issue, to edit that data, right? So in that case, you can go with stateful. But for the sake of learning, for the sake of creating the user interface, and just creating a static resume as of now. So we're going to go with that. And then later on, we're going to add some dynamic features too as well. And for that, we are going to use stateful widgets too. Okay, Varun? So let's create the Flutter application. Let's go to View, Command Palette, create new Flutter project, create this on desktop in a new folder. Let's name this day 5. Today is day. Let's give it some better name. Let's name this Shinjan. Okay. Let's name this Shinjan. Inside Shinjan, we are going to create our application. Now we have to give name to this application. So let's give this a name as portfolio. Cool. Let's give this a name as portfolio. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. One stateless for static, and for dynamic, we can go with stateful. So there are a few more ways how you can update data in stateless as well, and we will cover that when we'll be discovering the use case of streams in Flutter or Dart. So that will be a broader course to cover. So we will ponder upon that as well. So now Flutter will create application for us. Okay, now this is our first application, and you can see there is a lot of boilerplate code here. I will remove this all. I will control all and delete. Okay, and I will just close this. Cool. So this is our main.dart file. and we are going to create our first application like we always do. Yeah, cool. So what is the first thing we need whenever we are going to create an application? We are going to import something. What's that?
Material dot.
It's called the material package. Cool. Now every Dart program needs a starter function, an injection function. What is that? That's called the main function. Perfect, Rajiv and Varun. Very nice. So one more thing I would like to mention. There are one way to write functions is this. There's another way called by writing arrow functions. Okay. So okay, I think I forgot the syntax. Yeah. So this is the way. Cool. So you have a main function assigned, and if you want just one and only one function to be used, then in that case you use arrow functions. So this is just a shorter notation to write and go with, right? So you can use this or either this. You have two ways to go, and both of them work fine. If I just comment this will work fine, and this too will work fine. So it's just something you can do to reduce, lines of code and write everything in a single line. Cool. So let's name this application as portfolio app. I hope this is not confusing. Okay. I'll copy this and I will create a stateless widget again, and I will paste this, copy again, and paste. I think my PC got stuck. Just start it. Okay, I'm very sorry. My PC just got stuck due to some unknown reason. Let me just restart it, guys. Yeah, absolutely, Vinu. You can do that. In fact, if you don't want to write that my app thing, then you can directly just assign and shoot material app for that. But we create my app just in case if you want, let's say if you want your application to only open up in a landscape mode, right? So, and you want that material app to be wrapped around something and you want to apply properties on that. Like, let's say if someone wants to open a material application, there should be a wrapper around that material application and that should open on a conditional basis. So that case of matter, you can write the same thing here as well, but it's better to always, keep the code modular. So, and much more readable in that case. So actually you can do the same thing. Vinu, actually it's a very good question you asked. Cool. Maybe I'm really sorry, guys. Cool. Okay. Let me just present my screen again. It should be visible. Perfect. Cool. So now let's open VS Code. Let's hide this. Open our terminal. Let's open our emulator. Cool. So we were here, right? So we have to just copy this and we will paste this here. Okay. And now what we will return after that? We will absolutely, like Vinu said, we can write material app right here as well. But for keeping the code modular, we are just creating another instance of portfolio app and we are just going to write here material app. Cool. I do use the same method as I learned it from the documentation, so I do prefer that. Yeah, cool, Rajiv. That's totally fine. When you're going to work on production level application, then you won't adopt that method of material application. So yeah. So I've seen multiple application like running in multiple countries. So for that purpose, you have to do is you have to create a particular debug configuration file for that. Okay. And that debug configuration file, what it does is it actually lets you know like in which country you want to launch the material application. So let's say if you are in Indonesia and you don't want your application to run in Indonesia, and for that purpose you will have to create a config file from the Firebase console, and that has to be redirected and to be always in a listening mode for your material application. So in that case, you will have to create an instance like we are doing it right now. That's totally fine. Vinu and Rajiv, you can adopt that way as well. That's totally perfect for learning purpose. Cool. Okay. So we have material app, and now material app has a home, and we will create a home page, or let's say profile page, portfolio page. Cool. Now let's copy this. Now let's create a stateless widget. Create portfolio page. Now what this will return? This will return the scaffold. Cool. Now scaffold will obviously have an app bar. Let's go back to our draw.io. Cool. Cool. This was our application, right? So let's just come back here. We need an app bar. In the app bar, we need a title. Title will take a text, and the text will contain portfolio written. Cool. Let's save this and run this application on our Pixel 4. I have multiple options available. Pixel 4 my device, Chrome Edge, or Pixel C tablet. Okay, so I'll just run on Pixel 4. So yeah. Cool. We have the portfolio. Now from our wireframe, we have portfolio assigned to center. So we will assign it to center. Cool. It's in the center. Now what is the next thing we need? We need an image to be shown, and this entire thing will be wrapped in a single child scroll view, right? So this thing is body. So we will create a body after going outside app bar, create a body, and we will give this body a single child scroll view. Cool. A single child scroll view will take a child, and so it will take a child, and what that child could be, given that we have a column like structure. So obviously we will make a column here. Cool. So we will make a column. Okay. So a column contains what? Column contains children. Okay. And our first children will be an image. So let's create an image and let it be a network image. Now for network image, let's go to Google Images. Let's type Rick. Okay. I will copy this image address. I will come here to paste this here. Okay. So we have the image here. Okay. And this is a single child scroll view. So you won't see anything until we have the screen overflowed by multiple widgets. Okay. So the screen is filling up the entire space, and we want this to be a little bit, like this. Okay. So to do that, we will just go over here and give this some default size. And I want this size to be exactly 1/3 of the screen. Okay. I want this to be 1/3 of the screen width. So yesterday we discussed how to do that, right? So I will just type width here, and I will type media query dot of context, and then of size, and then width. And then I want this to be 1/3, right? So I will just multiply this by 1/3. Okay, or divide by 3. Okay. So let's just see what happens. Cool. We have the image. Okay. So this image is very small, I think, for our screen. So let's just do it to be 2/5. Okay, let's do it 2/7. Sorry. Okay, that's also not viable. Cool. I think this is nice, right? Cool. One thing is done. Now we can see there is a little bit of space between this app bar and this image. There's some space, right? So single child scroll view has a property of padding. So padding is something which you give inside the boundaries of a widget, right? So I will give it a padding. Sorry. And padding accepts edge insets dot all. Let's make it 10. Okay, the space is not enough. Let's make it symmetrically. Make it 20. Yeah, I think 20 is fine. 20 is fine. Okay. Now we need this image to be in center. Okay. So this image is actually a child inside this children array of column, right? So I want the axis of column to be in the center, right? So what I will do is I will just type here main axis alignment dot center. Okay, I think it should be cross axis alignment. Let's just comment this. Okay, why is this not happening? Oh, okay, cool. This will happen. This will happen when we'll have more widgets to go with. So let's just comment this as of now. We will uncomment this later on when we have more widgets. Okay. So we have image widgets closed up. Let's add a text, and let the text be name. Let this be Rick Sankets. Okay, so you can see there's a text below the screen. Okay, below this image, and we want the text to be a little bit bigger. So let's just add some style, add some text style, and it should be font size. Let the font size be 20. Cool. Let's make it 30. Perfect. Now there is some space between the image and the text. So we require some empty space in between. So we have multiple options to do that. But the best option is to to add a size blocks. So size blocks just gives you an empty space or a space where you can do something, right? So what are the parameters size box can take? It can take width, height, and it can also take any child. Cool. So if I don't create any child, then I can use this thing as an empty space. Okay. The same thing I can do with container as well. Cool. So let's just give some height. I'm going to give it 10. Let's see now what happens. Okay, you can see there's some space now between the image and the text, right? Cool. Now I want this image to be rounded, from the 4 edges, from the 4 points. Yeah, Raji, you can upload everything on GitHub. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we need this to be rounded, right? So what we have to do is we have to wrap this image in a widget called clip RRECT. What that will do is that it gives us some extended components in which we can define and do with any widget. So it has a property of border radius. Okay, it has a property of border radius. So it just clips our widget in the ways we want. So we will just create border radius, and we want this to be circular. Okay. Just border radius dot. Cool. Okay, now you can see the image has been clipped from the 4 corners of this image, right? That's what we wanted from our user interface here. So yeah, you can see now the image has been, now 34 looks too much. So let's just make it 20. 20 seems fine, right? So we are done with image, we are done with text. Now the next thing we have to do is we have to add this card-like thing, and there will be a particular text inside this card. No, it's not cropped, it's just clipped. The image is still in the same way it is, right, Varun? It's not cropped. We are just actually clipping it with the context of the background on which it is being shown. Okay, are you getting my point? Cool. But on the user end side, it looks perfectly fine in the way we want it to be displayed. Cool. Now, what's the next thing we need to do? We need to add a card or a container in which we'll be writing a designation. By help of which extension you get this wrap option. Actually, this is inbuilt in Flutter. You have to just, let's say I want to wrap this text, right? So I will just press Control plus dot. Dot means full stop, and I will get these options. So wrapping into center, wrapping into container, wrapping into padding. These are a few common widgets which we wrap things in, right? So you get this option by tapping Control plus dot. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Shubham and Vinu. Okay, cool. Now let's create a card. So we have the text done, we have the size box done, and we have the image done. So let's just, image is done, image is done, size box is done, text. So three things are there: image, size box, and text. Image, size box, and text. So let's add another, let's add card this time. So card is nothing, it's just like a 2D container with a white background on a default basis, and it has some elevation, some shadow. Okay, so let's just give it a child, and I will call this child as text, and it will contain mobile app developer. Cool. Yeah, so you can see I'm being shown mobile app developer, and the card has wrapped the entire length of the text. Okay, so what we have to do is I will wrap this text inside a padding. Okay, I will wrap this inside a padding, and let's see now what happens. Okay, cool. Now you can see there's much padding available in the content card. Okay, let's give 18. Cool. Give this colors dot amber. Okay, I hope this is visible. So let's just copy this entire thing. Okay, so now you can see slowly the column is trying to align itself into the center as we have bigger widgets to go with. Right? Yeah. So it's not totally centered, but it's just adopting the case, right? Cool. So yeah. So card is a property of elevation. So let's make this 10. So now you can see the card looks elevated, way more elevated, right? So let's just make it blue accent. Cool. Not just not looking good. So Flutter has a way to add shades of a color like light or dark. So let's say if I make this card red, then this will be a pure red. But beside this red, if I add these two square brackets, and if I add 100, so this is just one part of red color. If I do 200, this will get much darker shade of the color. If I do 500, I will get this. If I go do 900, I will get this. So this just starts getting richer and richer. Okay, so this is how you can define colors on a shade basis, right? Cool. As of now, we are just going to leave this thing as white only. Cool. And card has a property of shape, and we are going to shape it into rounded rectangular border. Okay, and this will take a border radius, and border radius dot circular, and we will give this border radius to be 20. So you can see now the edges have been turned much rounder, right? Now they have become more rounder. So you can just make it 50. This will start looking like cool. Cool. Okay, cool. 20 is fine. So let's move on with the user interface again. Now we need a bio. Okay, we need a bio to be displayed. So let's just try to display a bio. This is a card. I will just collapse this. So you can see I've collapsed the 4 things we have. We have 4 things as of now. One is clip RRACT, which is clipping our image. If I will expand this from here, you can see it has a child called image, and the image is this, right? I will format this document so it looks cleaner. Yeah. Clip RRACT, it has a child image. All right. I will just collapse this. Now I have a size box. I will collapse this. I have a text. Will collapse this. Then I have a card. So I have four things, and the 4 things are visible here. One size box is present here, which you cannot see because it's invisible as now, transparent. Cool. Now let's go back to our UI. Now we have to add a text. So let's just create a text widget here. Let's add some data. Cool. Okay, you can see the text is being displayed, but the text size is very small, right? So I will exactly copy this here and paste here. And I will type some gibberish data here. Cool. Yeah, so you can see it is adapting according to the space it has. It is adapting according to the context. Okay, cool. Yeah, absolutely. Text can be justified. It has properties inside this. Okay. Text align. Yeah. Here you can see there are properties. You want the text to be in center, then you can put it to center. You want it to start from the end or justify this, or start from left, right, or start. So let's justify this. Yeah. So these are the properties which you can do. So whatever you can think of, the Flutter team has built a widget for that. And in that widget, there will be all the relevant properties like which you can imagine. Okay. So in textile too, we have multiple things. In textile, we have background. Justified it something it tries to redistribute horizontally on the line provided. So in this case, we just have 2 words. Okay. First word is this. Then there's a space in between, and there's a third word, right? So if I will type here, let's say I will copy a lorem ipsum. Let me just copy this text. This will work. Yeah. So you can see now this text. So this Cicero's de finibus. There is no sense of keeping this much space in between, right? But still, this space is coming. Why? Because we have tried to justify this text. So justify actually means is there will be always an initial text at the start, and there will always be an ending text in the end of the line. This is what justify means. So let's just try to make it left. Now you can see the text has aligned itself towards the left, right? And if I just put it to center, and it has aligned itself to center. In Justify, it is just taking the entire space provided horizontally for each line. So Justify suits just right for our demands as of now. And I can see there is very less space between this card and this text, right? So I will just again create a size box here. I will give this a height. I will give the height to be 20. Okay, now it's fine, right? Cool. Let's just format this document. Save this. This looks fine. Let's go back to your user interface. Yeah, now we are done with the bio thing. Now we have to deal with the email thing, right? So let's go and deal with the email thing. So what you can think of email as, we have two things here. First is this icon, @ icon. Second is there's a container here. And third thing, there's another container right beside this. And we have email, which is a string. Okay. So this is how we, what we have to implement, right? So any guesses what we can do? What we can do on a UI basis, like what we can use? We can use a container, we can use a divider. How we absolutely, Sudhanshu. Any more guesses? Yeah, need a container, Varun. Yeah. More, come on, guys. We have many ways to do that actually. Cool. We will go with the container and the row as of now. Absolutely, Mridul. Row, container, icon, text. Absolutely, perfect. Flat button can also be used, but yeah, absolutely, flat button can be used. Flat button will again take a child window. So you can obviously, again in a child, you can add a row in that. But in this case, we don't need a button because a button will not have any on press function, right? So we should only use button whenever we have some functionality to be shown. That's a good practice because see, there are two options. Okay, first is size box, second is container. But if you ask to any developer who has been in the field of Flutter development, he will always tell you that you should go with the size box and not with a container. Though they can do the same task, but why is he proposing that thing? Because container contains a wider set of properties and named parameters. Okay. So, and you just need one parameter to be dealt with. That's the width and height. Okay, and that already has that already are present inside size box. But size box has just 4 properties, and container has more than 12 to 14 properties. So container contains a heavier set of named parameters. Okay, and size box just contain 4 properties, and the 2 properties are height and width, which are useful to you. So you need not to call something big to do a small work, right? So this is why we go with size box. Size box is also memory efficient, and this is the reason. Use row and size box. Yes, absolutely sure. So we have multiple suggestions from you guys, right? Similarly, we know your question was actually you raised a good thing that you wrote flat button, but flat button have a property of on pressed, and for that case, it will be left out, and we will have to write an extra line on pressed, then an empty function for that. So yeah, we won't be using that. We'll be going with row as of now. Cool. So I will make this text a little bit shorter as of now, so that I need not to scroll up and down every time. Yeah. So first of all, let's create a container. Container, our favorite widget. Okay. Our container will have a child, and that child will be a row. Okay. And row means horizontal components you can show, right? Okay. Now we have a row, and on the first component of the row will be icon. And the icon will be email. Okay. Too many positions. Okay, cool. Sorry. We have to give first children. Inside children, we will be adding icon. icons.email. Okay, then we'll be having a text widget. The text will contain, let's say, Rick Sankes at gmail.com. Cool. So now you can see this is being displayed here. There is an icon and there is a text, but there is no space in between. Yes, Sudhanshu, we can make it an input box, but we don't want data to be editable as of now, right? So there is no point of using an input box here. But yeah, for just you can just disable input in this case, but still it won't look that intuitive, because if you're going to launch this application, and if you look at a user side, then people will be they will be excited to just press that button there to input text. So you have to show something which is very intuitive, and it just looks like you cannot edit anything. So we have to think intuitiveness as well. Okay, so I have icon, I have text, but there is no space. So I will, for putting the space, I will create a size box here. And this time in size box, I need a width. I don't need the height parameter here. Okay. So I will just column here and I will add some width. So let's give this width as 10. I think this is enough space. Okay. Cool. So now we'll be wrapping this inside a container. So container has a property called decoration. What decoration will do, inside decoration, we have a wide array of things, how we can customize how a container behaves, right? So I'll just create a decoration and I will use a box decoration here. Okay. So decoration has multiple decorations available. So there is one more decoration, which is border. Okay. Well, let's see what border takes. Border takes properties. Okay, shape and border radius. So we will put, let's go over to Google. Whenever you are confused about the syntax, just type Flutter container border decoration. Okay, you get the first answer on Stack Overflow, how to add a border to a widget in Flutter, right? So you just have to, you can see people have posted awesome answers here. So we created a decoration here. We created a box decoration and then we have a border. Inside border, we have all, then we have a color. Cool. Let's go over here. We'll type border dot all. All means from all the four sides. I want the border to be active on the all four sides, right? So all, and then what are the properties I have? I have a property of color, style, and width. Okay. So let's just color this colors.red, because red has a higher wavelength and you can see it easily for this Google Meet, right? Okay. Yeah, so you can see we have the border now around the container. So the container extends from the start till the end, right? And we want the border to have a particular style. So we have border style solid. So obviously it is solid as of now. Let's see what else we have. We have none. If you put it to none, and the border will go away. And you can add values as well. So values will come later on. We will understand that as well. Okay, I need a width. Let's make the width as 10. Now the border has become very thick. Okay, and it has become too thick. So let's just make it 5. 5 seems nice. Now, since we have a border, we need a border radius. And I need a border radius in a circular form. That means circular from all the 4 points of the container. And I will add here border radius to be 10. Cool. So this looks good as of now. But you can see this is too close to the external border. So I will just add some padding here. So what I will do is I will add some padding inside this container, and it will be edge insets all, and it should be 10. Okay, now this looks a little bit better, right? Cool. Perfect. All right. So yeah, now we'll go back to user interface, and we are slowly we are getting here. So now container has a child row, right? And what row is doing is it is, if you will give a margin to a container, then margin actually deals with the outsides of this. So yeah, let's try to give this a margin so that you can know the difference. If I give it a margin like edge insets all, and I will give it like say 30. So it will just string that container being shown, right? Let's just see. You saw the difference. Like from the four sides, it has pushed the container inwards. Okay. So margin is something which happens outside the boundaries, and padding is something which happens inside the boundaries. Clear? All right, perfect. So we will deal about the alignment later on. First of all, we will just go on with the content to be added. Okay. Now we have another thing for the GitHub link. So we will just try to add GitHub link now. So now I have this entire widget here. This container contains everything about this bordered container, right? I will just go over here. I will copy this container and I will duplicate this. So now we have two columns here. Oh, sorry, two containers here. But in this one, I want my GitHub to be there, right? And so Flutter material does not offer any icon for GitHub. Okay. So for that, we are going to use a third-party thing called Font Awesome. So I will go to pub.dev, and this will give me the icons from a third party. It's a third party plugin which allows you to give icons of famous things like GitHub, Gmail, Dribble, Slack, Facebook, वगैरह वगैरह. Okay. So like yesterday we understood, like I'll just copy this. I will just font awesome. Yeah, this is the one. Okay. This is the one, Font Awesome 9.0. This is latest version. I will just go inside my pubsec.yaml file. I will go right below my Cupertino icons, and I will not ever add any space in pubsec.yaml until it's required. I will just press enter and I will hit paste. Okay. And I will press Control S to import those plugins from the servers of pub.dev. So this is just installing the plugin inside my directory, copy pasting it inside my directory, and it's done. Okay. Cool. Now I will close this and I will hide this and I will go here. Cool. Now I don't know how to use Font Awesome, right? So I will go to Font Awesome's README. This is the README here. Okay. So how to use Font Awesome? First thing is to import that package, and second thing is to use it as an icon like this. Okay. So let's just write this up, copy, and let's just remove this and paste. So this is showing me errors because I don't have it imported as of now. Okay. So yesterday, so there are two options. First thing is you can actually write the entire import thing at the top of the file here. Second thing is Flutter will give you suggestion that you can import it. Okay, so I will just do this. So now the red lines has gone. Okay, and now I will just refresh this text. Okay, cool. It is not showing me the gamepad icon. Okay, so let's just go to Font Awesome directory and see what fonts we have. I will try to search for GitHub. Okay, I have a font of GitHub, right? So I will just go over here. Let's see if, okay. I'm not sure, some issue is there. Let's just try to, so sometimes it happens, okay. Let me just copy this entire code. Okay, I get font or some example icons. Okay, cool. Are we missing something out here? We have icon button, we have icon defined. Okay, it will always take an icon thing. Okay, cool. Let's just try to do the same thing they're doing. Okay, I think there's some issue with this emulator fetching the code. Okay. Yeah, because this is not taking UTF code based or not able to process these SVGs, because every font or some icon is a SVG. Use icon and then font or some. Okay, I did the same thing. I'm using an icon button and then I put FA icon. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's still not working because my phone has issues, or actually this emulator has issues, but this must be working for you guys, I think, right, Shubham? Is it working for you? It should work for you, Shubham, because this emulator sometimes is not able to process UTF Unicodes as well. Yeah, this sometimes this emulator turns out to be, very much pain. So yeah, so let's just okay, cool, not an issue. So right now we have this, and now we are going to use a plugin called URL launcher. Okay, so what URL launcher will do, as soon as you press on this button, this is going to launch that URL inside your browser window. Cool. So for that, we are going to visit pub.dev again, and I will type URL. Cool. Okay. So this is how you launch URLs. We have to just copy this. We have to go inside a pubsec.yaml file, and I'll be pasting it right below. Okay. I'll be saving it so that it gets it from the servers or pub.dev. Cool. Now here's an example. So here's a bigger example to launch URL. We have a shorter one here. Simply define this const URL. So we'll just copy this function. We'll come to our code, paste this here, and then copy this from here. Okay, now we don't have the URL, right? So let's copy this URL, type this here. Okay, let's just define the URL, right? That's a good practice. I will just go over here. I will type Cool. All right. Are you guys following me up? So what I just did, I am just doing copy paste here. I'm not doing anything. I'm not writing any code. I'm just copy pasting what this README file is telling me of URL launcher. Okay. So now I just have to. I want whenever I tap on this button, I'll be redirected to a website. Okay. So this is a container, right? A container is not something which will listen to your taps or presses. So what we can do, either we can make this a button, but that will require a lot of changes to happen, right? Or I can wrap this entire container inside a widget called Inkwell. So Inkwell has multiple functions on listening to user gestures. So Inkwell listens to your single taps, double taps, swipes, and swipe left, swipe right, swipe up, pinch and zoom. So all these human gestures are read by Inkwell. Okay, so Inkwell is a very good widget if you want to make a game in Flutter, right? Yeah, gesture detector is also there, right? Gesture detector, exactly, Varun. So gesture detector is used in creating those video player applications in which you want to seek the widget or all, right? So yeah, actually a gesture detector, exactly. Perfect. So where is my container? This is my container, right? I will wrap this inside an Inkwell. Okay. So Inkwell has multiple functions like on double tap, on focus change, on highlight change, on hover, on long press, on tap, cancel, on tap down. Okay. So I will just use on tap, and then I will go to my README file and I will copy this. Exactly, I'll copy this function. Control C and Control V. Okay. So yeah, now this button has become a tappable thing. So let's try to tap this. Okay, nothing is happening. Why is nothing happening? Could not launch URL. Okay. What could be the possible issue now? Okay. Okay. Launch and route. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Cool. So yeah, HTTP URL for .dev. So Dart code, email launcher, scheme, URL. Okay. Cool. I think it has some issues with the web view because okay. Cool, it's working fine in this case. Let's reload this application. Cool. We are seeing some issue here. Launcher channel URL launcher, anonymous package URL launch interface. Missing plugin exception, no implementation found which can launch channel plugins. URL launcher. So there's some issue which is happening with platform channel right here. Okay, let me just break this application and rerun this. So like this plugin also works fine. It is having some issues with platform channel due to the same emulator issue. Also, there is this plugin called Web View, which allows you to open the website inside. Yeah, it works in Chrome. The thing is, this emulator is running out of issues. Actually, what happens is when you install an emulator, there is this uh, external web view present here. Okay, so this listens to your taps whenever you click inside your application. So this has to respond in respect. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so the same issue is coming. This web view will respond to my requests whenever I am typing or launching a URL. This will launch an external tab for me, like a Chrome tab. It will launch an external tab in emulators. So if I type something, it will work fine, right? But whenever I'm trying to launch it, my voice is not audible. Okay, cool. So let's try to search this issue and see what the issue actually is. Yeah, I mean, this is a known issue in case of emulators and all. Anyways, we should not spend much time on this. We should focus on much viable things to go with. So what I want you all to do today is, I want you to go and search some portfolio user interfaces on Dribble. Okay. Let me just sign in with Google. So there are multiple portfolio UIs available, right? So you have to try on your own, and you can just customize what we have built as of now. Also, there's one more thing which a basic portfolio contains, and those are skills, right? So I will just tell you quickly how you can add skills. So for example, if I talk about my skills, so I'll be talking about, let's say, Flutter, or in your case, it may be JavaScript, React, right? So I will just go out to this container and I will create something called a wrap. So a wrap actually wraps the content inside it. Okay. So let me just show you how it works. It again contains children. Okay. And in this case, let's type them to a Flutter logo. So you can see there's a Flutter logo here at the bottom. Let's give it some size. Okay, let's give it 140. Cool. I will copy this and paste multiple times. Yeah. So I did not tell Flutter like what to do, but still it is wrapping my content without giving me any overflow errors. So this is what wrap actually does. Okay. So now I want my skills to be displayed here. So let's say in my case it's JavaScript. Okay. So you can see JavaScript here, and a person can have multiple skills, right? But this is not very intuitive. This is not looking good, and it is not conveying any information. So here I will write another widget called chip, CIP chip. Okay, and chip contains a label, and this label can be a text. So in my case, let's write here JavaScript and just save this. Yeah. So now you can see this is called a chip. It is a rounded rectangular border container with a default color of gray. You can change the color you want. Okay. And I want multiple of these. Yeah. So you can see wrap is aligning all of the chips in the possible way it can based upon the screen size. Okay. So a chip just tells you, like it gives you information in a very precise and uh, in this manner, right? So let's just make it Flutter. Okay. Okay. So this is what chip is. You can change the color. Okay. And I will give this some padding by wrapping it in a container. Okay. So now it looks better. So likewise, you can add multiple skills of yours, and even I will give this chip also a padding. Okay. Now I will just copy this. I will paste this. Now this looks good, right? So ऐसे आप खुद का skills भी add कर सकते हो, whatever skills you have. One more thing, you can see this code is looking very much copy pasted and it looks very much gibberish, right? So what if I want to use this again and again, right? So like if you want to call a function again, yeah, difference between padding inside and outside. No, actually, the thing is, both the padding work the same way. I could have wrapped this inside a container as well. So if I just make it a container, it will still work the same way. But again, like we discussed, right? कि जहाँ पे सुई काम आ सकती है वहाँ पे तलवार की जरूरत क्या है, right? So the same way, you just need a padding. So why do you need to call an entire container which contains these much parameters, right? You don't want to use them. You just want to use a simple padding which contains one simple padding. That's it. Because I know you're just using one parameter of that big widget, right? But still it has some default buffer memory created, which goes unassigned. So this is why it's always better to use the widgets for which they are meant to be used. No, actually, yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, inside padding, if you hover on this padding widget, okay, what you see that padding takes three parameters. First is key. So key is something which we will discuss later. And then second is padding and third is child. Okay. So a padding contains just three named parameters inside its widget class. Okay. But if I hover onto container, you can see container contains a lot of, things. And if you are just using this one thing, which is padding, and all of these things stays somewhere inside the memory and they go unassigned, right? So like if you see the widget tree here, when I launch the application now, see, if I open debugger tools here, let me just close this. Flutter debug, yeah, open DevTools. So DevTools actually gives you the exact idea. So there is no need of adding it. Both works the same way, Varun. But the thing is, the use case has to be assigned only when you want it to be used. So if you're going to a newbie, when you're going to start first on an initial basis in Flutter, you're going to use these widgets. It's totally fine, not an issue. But later on, when you're going to create big projects now, you will be able to realize that we should not use heavy widgets if you want to just use one single lightweight thing to do. Okay. So here I have used a padding. Okay. And here I have used a container. So this is a debug. Actually, you can open the debug tools in your browser as well. So debug tool just allows you like how things are looking. Okay. It gives you the entire information, the entire metadata of your widget. So in this padding, if I go into details tree, yeah. So you can see I have the chip here, right? And I have the padding. This is a padding, this is a container, this is a wrap, this is an inkwell, this is a card. So entirely this is just going to our code. So let's say if I want to go into this code, okay. So container में बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं, ठीक है? बहुत सारी चीजें, अब इसमें देखो null है, आपने foreground color नहीं दिया, so it's null, okay. And container also has a property of padding जो मैंने यहाँ पे दे के रखी है, but वो मैंने इसलिए दी क्योंकि मुझे decorated box use करना था container का, okay. Okay, Minu, sorry, I'm really sorry. So what happens is container also has a property of padding, and padding is also an external widget which allows you to do things. Okay, but container has very much things like it has a package of multiple named parameters, but padding has a simple parameter, just one parameter which you can use. Similarly, that's in the case of container as well as size box. Okay. So when you just want to give padding, then why not use the padding widget itself? Why to call container every time? Okay, because if you will call container will have multiple properties, right? It will have decoration, it will have height, weight, etc., etc. So though you are not giving them any values, but still they go null, they go unassigned in your memory somewhere. So are you getting my point? Like, so you can see container here, the foreground color is null, the constraints are null. So likewise, this is what I'm saying. Okay. Yeah, Varun, you can use either one, not an issue, not an issue. Actually, you can use any of them. But if you are going on a performance based application, if you are considering that your application should have a good performance and your application should follow the good linting rules, or you can say good code quality, or when you're going to apply into a company and you are going to apply on a position of Flutter app developer. Yeah, Rajiv, you can say padding is fast when it comes to performance based analysis of the application. Then you can obviously say that padding is much memory efficient. Sooner or later it's going to affect your app's speed. Yeah. So in that terms, if you're saying, then it may be fast to an extent. So this is just a good practice, I told you, right? So there are a few practices, few development practices you should adopt. So like this entire thing, right? This portfolio app, I can put this entire thing into a different Dart file. So I will just cut this, okay? and I will create another Dart file, and I will name it portfolio page.dart. Okay, I will press enter, and I will paste the entire code here. Cool. Now there are multiple issues here. First of all, our main.dart is not able to access our portfolio page. Okay, so what I will do is I will just import this portfolio page file into my main.dart file. Okay, so this will give me a quick fix, and it is telling me that I can import this library. Oh, sorry, this package. So this package is nothing, it's just our portfolio page.dart. So I will just click on this. Okay. Where is this? Okay, cool. Yeah. So portfolio page is, it should have import material. Cool. Now it's fine. Now you can see that line has gone, right? And now portfolio page has some issues, launch URL issues. So we can fix this by going to this file and just cut this. Actually, just remove this. We are not even using this, right? Cool. Now everything still works fine, so not an issue. Cool. So that's how you can segregate your Dart code into multiple files. Okay. And it's always a good development practice in when you are writing code and you're naming files. So files should be always separated with an underscore. And when you're naming classes, then the class name should always start with a capital letter. Whenever you are creating a variable, then the variable should always be in a camel case manner. So there are multiple cases available. So this is called snake case. This underscore separated thing, which I told you, right? That's called snake case, right? In snake case, there is a underscore added, and there's a dot case. In dot case, there's always be a dot in between two words. Okay, this is called path case. Path case is nothing. When we add path of any files, we use path case for that. This is called param case. Param case is parameter type of case, right? Pascal case is something which you use when the first letter will of the word will be capital, and then the second word's letter will be capital. Okay. Then this is called header case. In header case, the two words has to start with a capital letter, and there will be a hyphen in between. Title case is this. So title case is nothing. It will be just a space separator, right? Camel case, first letter will always be small, and the second word's letter will be capital. This is called sentence case. In sentence case, it can extend, the string can extend to multiple, to multiple words as well. So first will be capital, and then all the things can be small, right? And constant case will be a capital separated by underscore. So you might have seen when you define in C, C++, you write constants right above with the above header file, right? Yeah. So if def kind of thing. So these are a few of the things, and this is a package called recase. So recase allows you to convert things into readable formats. Okay. So this is a very good package. So whenever what happens is when you fetch data from server side, you do not get data in capital letters. So let's say if you're getting a data for a movie called Avengers Infinity War. So it may happen that the user or the person who has typed data, he may have written it in lowercase, uppercase, or somewhat like in a very erratic manner, right? So we can obviously convert that into our desired format using this plugin, this package. Cool. I will just copy this. I will go to my pubsec.ml file. I will paste this. I will save this. Okay. I will go to my portfolio page. I will go to I will create a string. Let's say test. Let this be hello, how. Cool. Now here, I want to use recase. Then how to use recase is just first of all, copy this thing, paste this here. Then we can actually assign this. Yeah, what is it saying? Yeah, so I will have to, first create this thing, paste it here. Cool. And now I will, let's say I want this to be shown here. Let's say someone has typed things like Avengers Infinity War, right? Someone has typed it like this. Yeah, Varun, you can make packages. You can absolutely make packages. When you press command palette here and you type Flutter, you can start and create your, where it is, new module, new package project. You can start with that. So it will give you the starter code for that. Okay. So let's say I want to show this here. So I will just go over here and I will type rc dot. So I want this to be in a title case. Okay. So now this portfolio will be displayed with Avengers Infinity War in a capitalized title case format. Let's see what happens. Okay. Okay. I think we will have to reload this. So likewise, you can use multiple plugins, right? So you can see Avengers Infinity War is being shown in title case, right? So yeah, there are multiple things you can try. There are a huge number of packages on pub.dev. You can try it up. Let's say I want this to be in camel case. So you can see Avengers Infinity War is coming in camel case now. Let's just put it in snake case. So it will be separated by underscores. Yeah. So likewise. Cool. Yeah. Oh, sorry guys. It's 8:40, right? I'm really sorry. You guys must be the time to have dinner. Okay, so I hope you learned something good today. If you did learn something good and if you did find something interesting, then drop an emoji. Any emoji will work. Okay, thank you so much, Shridan. So what is the difference between inkwell and gesture detector? So inkwell and gesture detector. So inkwell gives you few things. If internet gives you, let's say, it gives you limited things. Gesture detector gives you more things, and you can actually see that. Yeah. So it gives you callback functions as well. So like if you do something, right? If you on tap down, on tap up, on tap cancel, on secondary tap. So Inkwell also had these things, but these were very limited, right? So you can listen like on long press starts, on long press move update. So let's just open Inkwell in a new tab. Okay. Mm, okay. So Inkwell gives you, let's say, key, child, on tab, on double tap, move mouse cursor, hover color, highlight color, etc., etc. But gesture detector gives you the entire library of the things you can think of. On pan, and on pan update. Panning means when you zoom and pan an image, right? You move these two fingers for that. Yeah. So gesture detector gives you all of that. So yeah, it's a very good thing. So when you're making an application like MX Player or VLC Media Player, in that case, you are going to listen to these gesture detectors. And when you just want one single button or one single widget to be understood in just small modules to be understood in just small use case, then you can use Inkwell. Gesture detector will give you the entire library to notice every single piece of change, pixel perfect changes, and gesture detector will allow you to do few things. Okay, both will work depending upon the use case. Thank you, Suraj. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rajiv, for the fire emoji. Thank you, Shubham. Thank you so much, Lakshmi. Thank you. Thank you, Vinu.